Mira was a quiet woman. She worked as a cleaner at Starcrest Academy, one of the most famous schools on planet Violin. Every day, she walked through the big halls with her small cart, cleaning floors and picking up trash. Most teachers and students didn't notice her. If they did, they would just nod or say a cold thank you. But Myra didn't mind. She liked silence. She wore simple clothes, kept her hair tied, and spoke only when needed. No one knew much about her. Some said she was from a forgotten Earth colony. Others joked that she had never even touched a book in her life. One day, during a class on ancient human culture, a group of young teachers had an idea. "Let's do something fun," said Mr. Darnell, one of the junior teachers. "We talk about old instruments like violins and flutes, but no one here has seen them in use. Let's make it more real." Another teacher laughed. "Real? Where will we find someone to play the violin? The students won't care." Mr. Darnell pointed toward the hallway. Mira had just walked by with her mop. She's from the lower districts. Maybe she has some ancient skill. Let's ask her. It will be a good joke. They all laughed. Later that day, when Mira was mopping the stairs, Mr. Darnell walked up to her with a fake polite smile. "Miss Myra," he said, "would you like to help us tomorrow? We're showing students a lesson about old music. You can come and try to play a violin." Mira looked up at him. "You want me to play?" Yes, he said quickly. "Just for fun. Nothing serious." Mira paused for a moment, then gave a small nod. "All right." She walked away, leaving. The teacher confused. He didn't expect her to agree. The next day, the classroom was full. Students sat in curved chairs, whispering and laughing. Some already knew the plan. A cleaner was going to perform music. The lights dimmed, and Mr. Darnell stepped forward. "Today," he said, smiling, "we have a special guest. She is someone who works in this very building, someone who reminds us of the simple roots of humanity." Students chuckled. "Please welcome Mira." Mira walked in slowly, holding an old violin case. The violin was not from the academy. It was her own. It looked aged, but clean and polished with care. The wood glowed a soft brown, and the strings were tightly wound. Students stared. They didn't expect her to bring a real instrument. Mira stood in front of them. She didn't speak. She just closed her eyes and raised the bow. The first note was soft, then the second came. Longer, deeper. Within seconds, the room became silent. The sound was smooth, flowing like water, rising and falling like the wind. It was a kind of music no one had heard before, not from machines, not from AI composers, not from school screens. Myra's hands moved gently, like she was painting the air. The violin spoke with her, not in words, but in feelings. Sadness, hope, warmth, loneliness, light. A few students lowered their heads, their eyes wet. A teacher forgot to breathe. The air in the room felt alive. For 3 full minutes, Mira played. She didn't look at anyone. She didn't need to. Her music touched something deeper than sight. It reached the part of the heart that remembers old dreams and quiet mornings. When she stopped, there was silence. No one clapped. Not because they didn't want to, but because they couldn't. The moment was too heavy, too real. Mira opened her eyes, nodded once, and walked out. Mr. Darnell stood frozen. His smile was gone. He looked at the other teachers. None of them said a word. A student whispered, "What was that?" Another replied, "I don't know," but it felt like time stopped. In the control room above the classroom, something strange happened. A small machine hidden in the wall turned on. Its lights blinked red and blue. For years, it had been asleep, forgotten by the builders of Starcrest Academy. Now it had heard something. Something it was built to listen for. A signal. Far away, in space. Another system quietly received the same signal. It woke up too. And it waited. That night, Mira sat in her small room in the lower district. Her violin rested in her lap. She looked at the sky from her window. The stars were quiet, but she knew something had changed. She didn't play for the school. She didn't play for praise. She played because the music was inside her. And now something had hurt it. Something not human. After Mira left the classroom, the room stayed silent for a long time. The teachers didn't smile. The students didn't talk. Everyone felt something they couldn't explain. It was not just music. It was something deeper. It felt like the violin had touched their hearts, like old memories from another life had come back. Mr. Darnell tried to speak. That was interesting, he said, but his voice was dry. A student stood up. Sir, she said slowly, was that part of the lesson? Or something else? Mr. Darnell didn't answer. He didn't know. In the upper part of the school, inside a control room no one visited, a small silver machine had started blinking. It was built long ago, during the early days of the colony. Its purpose had been forgotten, and now dust covered its edges. But inside, it still worked. It had one job: to listen for resonant sound, a special type of frequency that could activate ancient systems left behind by a powerful alien race. And today, for the first time in 200 years, it heard it. The machine sent a quiet signal into space. Back in the city, strange things began to happen. A group of scientists at the Violin Space Listening Station saw a new pattern on their monitors. A soft wave, not from any known star, repeated 3 tones again and again. The scientists stared at the screen. That's music, one of them whispered. It's human music. But from where? Another asked. The system traced the signal. It came from Starcrest Academy. The next morning, 2 men in gray suits came to the school. They wore small metal badges that showed they worked for the Office of Planetary Intelligence. They asked to speak to Myra. She's just a cleaner. Mr. Darnell said nervously. What do you want with her? One of the men looked at him seriously. She played something yesterday that triggered a deep space response. Something we haven't seen in 2 centuries. The teachers stared in disbelief. How can that be? Someone whispered. The man replied. Because she played the right notes. Notes that woke up something far away. Mira was in the garden behind the academy, watering plants. When the men came to her, she didn't seem surprised. Do you know what happened yesterday? The first man asked. I played a song, Mira said calmly. Yes, and that song was not just sound, it was a signal. Something answered it. What did you play exactly? Mira looked at the flowers. It's a tune my grandmother taught me. She called it the Sky Prayer. I don't know where it came from. The second man asked, where is your grandmother now? She passed away many years ago. They took Mira to a secure research center in the capital. Scientists asked her questions, but she didn't have the answers they wanted. I just play what I feel, she kept saying. When they asked her to play again, she refused. Music is not for testing, she said. It's not a weapon. But they didn't stop. They brought her to a chamber filled with machines and scanners. A violin was placed in front of her. She sat down and closed her eyes. The first note she played shook the room. Lights blinked. Monitors flashed red. One machine showed a map, a star map. Another showed an image of an ancient structure, a round arch, glowing with blue lines. Mira stopped playing. The scientist stood frozen. This is not possible, one whispered. She's unlocking something. Later that night, one of the younger scientists named Tomil came to Myra's room. He brought her tea and sat quietly. After a long silence, he asked, do you know what you're doing? Mira nodded slowly. Not with machines. But I know the feeling. The music is waking something. Tomil looked down. They want to use it. Whatever this power is. They want control. I know, Mira said. Will you help them? Mira looked at him. Only if they learn to listen. Music is not a key for war. It's a door to something better. Tomil didn't answer. But in his heart, Something had changed. The next morning, news spread fast. A hidden alien system had been activated by human music, and the one who did it wasn't a scientist, soldier, or scholar. She was a quiet woman with a violin. Across the galaxy, in the dark space between stars, an old structure floated silently. It was made of stone and light, shaped like a ring, waiting for sound that had been asleep for centuries. Now, it had heard the song, and it began to wake. The next morning, the whole planet was talking about Mira and the harmonic gate. News screens showed her picture with headlines like, "A simple woman unlocks ancient alien route. Music opens gate to lost Valari civilization." Some called her a miracle. Others said she was dangerous, but Mira stayed quiet. She didn't want fame. She only wanted peace. Inside the government center, leaders were in a rush. Meetings were happening day and night. Scientists were ordered to study the star. Map Mira had unlocked. The route led to a point deep in space, far from any colony. "We must send a ship," said General Rowan. "This could be the most important discovery in human history." Dr. Sellin agreed, but he was worried. "We don't know what's waiting at the other end. The Valari may not be friendly. That's why we'll go prepared," the general said. "With weapons, just in case." Tomil visited Mira again. She was sitting in the garden of the research center, her violin resting on her lap. Flowers moved gently in the wind. "They want to go through the gate," he said. "I know," Mira answered softly. "They want you to play again, to open it fully." Mira looked at him. "And what do you want, Tomil?" He stayed silent for a moment, then said, "I want to protect what you gave us." She smiled. "Then stay true to the music. It will guide you." A few days later, Mira was taken to the harmonic chamber once more. This time, the gate was not just a floating image. Engineers had built a large machine designed to copy and direct the frequencies into space. But only Mira's real music could activate it. She stepped up to the platform. Her hands touched the strings. The room went quiet. Then she played. Melody was soft and slow, rising like dawn over the mountains. As she moved through the notes, the harmonic gate began to shine. A circle of bright energy appeared in the air, spinning faster and faster. Suddenly, a beam of light shot into space. The gate opened. Across the stars, the ancient Valari path awakened. It stretched like a ribbon through space, lighting up systems that had been dark for thousands of years. The path was now active. And the first ship was ready. Mission team was called Expedition Lightsong. It included scientists, explorers, and a small group of security officers. Tomil was one of them. He had asked to join the crew to witness what Mira's music had revealed. Mira was not going with them. But before they left, she gave Tomil something. A small music crystal. It held the sound of the same melody she had used to open the gate. "If anything happens," she said, "play this. It may help." Tomil nodded and thanked her. The ship passed through the harmonic gate. The journey through. The path was smooth, like floating on waves of light. No stars, no sound, just a glowing corridor in space. After several hours, they reached the end. What they saw took their breath away. A planet hung in the distance, surrounded by rings of shining crystal. Above it floated a massive structure like a city in the sky. Towers of glass and gold rose into the darkness, and strange symbols glowed in the air. It was the Valari sanctuary. They sent messages back to Varellin. "We found it," Tomil said through the screen. "The sanctuary is real." The crew landed on a platform near the edge of the sky city. There were no signs of life, no people, no machines. But everything was clean and untouched, like time had stopped. Inside, they found walls filled with carvings and glowing murals. The pictures told stories of music, light, and harmony. Of a people who believed sound was the bridge between minds and worlds. They also found warnings. A large mural showed a gate breaking, followed by darkness and war. Tomil looked at it and whispered, "They closed the path, to protect it." As the crew moved deeper into the sanctuary, they came to a large hall. In the center was a platform, and on it, something that looked like an alien instrument shaped like a harp. But floating in the air, Tomil placed Myra's crystal on a small stone near the platform. The melody began to play. The walls lit up. The sanctuary responded. Suddenly, a hologram appeared. It showed a tall, shining figure, the image of a Valari elder. Its voice spoke in soft tones. "If you are hearing this, then music has returned to the stars. We were the Valari. We built the harmonic gates to connect, not conquer. But others tried to use our song for war, so we closed the path. If you come in peace, we welcome you. If you come for power, you will find only silence." The light faded. Tomil looked around. Everyone stood in silence. Then he said, "We came in peace." Back on Violin, Mira sat in her garden again. She felt something in the wind. She looked up at the sky and smiled. "They made it," she whispered. She didn't need a message. She could feel it in the music of the world around her. The song had reached its next verse, and it was only the beginning. The sun rose gently over Violin. The sky was clear, and the air felt calm, as if the planet itself was breathing slower. Softer. In every corner of the city, screens showed the same image, Mira standing quietly beside Tomo, with the glowing orb, the heart of harmony, floating between them. The people were not cheering or shouting. They were simply listening. Mira didn't speak. She didn't need to. She lifted her violin one final time and played a short, peaceful tune. Just a few notes, but it was enough. The city felt it. The stars felt it. Something had changed. After that day, things moved slowly. The world didn't suddenly become perfect, but it began to heal. The leaders no longer saw the harmonic gate as a tool for power. Instead, they started calling it the path of peace. Scientists and artists worked together, studying the old Valari records from the sanctuary. Engineers learned to build things that responded to emotions. Architects designed spaces that created calm through light and sound. Children began learning music in schools again, not for grades or competitions, but for understanding, for connection. Mira returned to her quiet life. She didn't ask for awards or riches. She went back to the school, cleaning the same hall she always had. But now, when students saw her, they didn't look away. They smiled. Some even asked her to teach them a song. She always smiled back. She never stopped playing. Every morning, before her shift, she would sit by the garden and play a small melody, nothing grand, just simple and kind. Birds gathered near her. Flowers seemed to bloom faster. People passing by would slow down, listen, and feel lighter. Tomil became the new voice of the mission. He wrote down everything they had learned, from the first moment Myra played, to the last message from the Valari. He didn't call it a report. He called it a songbook. It had stories, notes, images, and reflections. At the very front page, he wrote, "When a simple woman played, the galaxy listened." The book was shared across colonies and even translated into alien languages. Many people were moved by the story, not because of the science, but because of the heart behind it. Months passed. One evening, a small council gathered on the hill near the harmonic gate. The gate stood open now, but quiet. No one had used it for weeks. It waited for someone to step forward with the right reason, not for power or control, but for connection. The council asked Mira to come. She arrived without fear. A young girl stepped forward and handed Mira a small, handmade violin. "I made this in school," the girl said. "I want to give it to you." Mira took the gift with tears in her eyes. She looked at the gate. Then she turned to the crowd and said her first public words. The Valari didn't leave music behind to be remembered. They left it to be continued. She held the violin gently and played one sweet note. The gate shimmered. A new mission was planned not by generals, but by artists, teachers, explorers, and musicians. They didn't go to take or rule. They went to learn. To listen. And they called themselves the Symphony Fleet. Their goal was simple: to follow the harmonic path to every gate left by the Valari, to find other places touched by sound, other species, maybe, who still remembered the power of peaceful melody. Mira didn't go with them, but she gave them her melody, the one that started it all. Years later, on a calm evening, Mira sat alone in the garden of the school. Her hands had grown slower, her steps softer, but her heart still held the same music. A young boy came running toward her. "Miss Mira, the fleet sent a message." He handed her a tablet. A new star system had been found, one filled with soft wind, crystal towers, and strange plants that reacted to song. They had played her melody there. And the planet had answered with music of its own. Myra smiled. She picked up her violin and played, not for the world, not for the sky, not even for the stars. She played for the future. Somewhere far away, on a planet with two suns, a group of beings stood still, listening. They were not human, but they felt the song, and one of them whispered in their own tongue. They sing like the Valari once did. Back on Varellon, in a museum shaped like a giant note, children ran through glowing halls filled with musical instruments and star maps. A statue stood in the center, simple, quiet, beautiful. It showed a woman with a violin in her hands. There was no crown, no gold, no throne, just a gentle smile and a line carved below. She played the truth. The Valari sanctuary was full of wonders. As the team walked through its glowing halls, they found more than just technology. They found a world shaped by beauty, harmony, and peace. Every wall was a painting. Every step echoed softly, like music, was part of the stone itself. Even the silence felt warm. Tomil and the other explorers continued deeper into the city, following signs written in both symbols and sounds. Some of the walls responded to voices, lighting up when someone spoke kindly, or played soft notes on ancient instruments. It was clear now, the Valari had built a city powered by emotion and music. "This place isn't just a sanctuary," Tomil said, looking around. "It's a living memory." One chamber caught their attention. Its door was shaped like a harp, and behind it, they found something strange, hundreds of crystal orbs, floating in the air. Each orb gave off a soft hum, each one a different note. Dr. Lena, the mission's language expert, stepped closer. "These aren't just crystals," she said. "They're recordings." Tomil touched one gently. It began to play. A voice came out, soft, calm, alien, but clear. "To the next travelers, if you are listening, then you carry the gift of sound. We were the last singers of Valari. This is our song." Then came the music. It was slow and deep, made of long notes that seemed to float forever. Tears filled Tomil's eyes. He didn't understand the language fully, but he felt the emotion: sorrow, beauty, goodbye. The Valari had not vanished in war. They had left willingly, choosing to end their time when others tried to twist their power. "This place is a goodbye letter," Tomil whispered. Meanwhile, back on Varellon, not everyone was celebrating. General Rowan and a group of leaders had grown impatient. They wanted control of the sanctuary. They didn't trust a place that ran on feelings and sound. "This is too dangerous to leave in the hands of dreamers," Rowan said. "If that structure can unlock more paths, we must be the first to reach them." Plans were made in secret. A second ship was prepared. But unlike the first, it carried weapons, and it did not carry Myra's music. Mira felt something change in the wind again. She was walking through the school garden, violin in hand, when the wind suddenly stopped. The birds flew away. The leaves froze. She looked up at the sky. Something was wrong. She went to the city's music tower, an old place where sound was studied in the past. There, she sat and played softly. Slowly searching for answers, her music reached out into the air like a question, and far away. Something answered. A dark echo returned to her, a warning. At the sanctuary, Tamel's team discovered a second gate room. This one was darker, colder. Its doors were sealed with symbols of silence. But one of the engineers, curious and careless, activated a console. The chamber shook. A small part of the gate opened. From it, a whisper came low, sharp. Empty. The team pulled back. "Close it," someone shouted. "This is not like the first one." But it was too late. The sanctuary dimmed. Lights flickered. The peaceful tones stopped. Something had changed. Tomel quickly placed Myra's music crystal back into the main platform. The soft melody began to play again, and slowly, the light returned, but not fully. The sanctuary had been disturbed. Hours later, the second ship arrived. They didn't announce themselves. They entered through the same harmonic gate, but without emotion or care. When they landed, the sanctuary did not welcome them. Doors stayed shut. Walls went dark. The city felt hurt. General Rowan stepped out with his soldiers. He looked around and said, "Secure everything. Find the control centers. We'll bring this place under proper rule." Tomil stood in their path. "Stop. This is not a machine you can take over." Rowan frowned. "We're not here to ask." But just as his team moved forward, a deep sound filled the air, a warning tone. And then, the walls began to shift. In the control center, an image of a Velari elder appeared again. But this time, its face was calm and sad. "We shared our song with hope," it said. "But if the song is broken, the city will sleep again." Suddenly, the lights faded. The sanctuary shut down. All paths disappeared, and the harmonic gate closed. Back on Virelin, Mira stood at the tower, her bow frozen mid-air. She felt the song break. She fell to her knees. The connection was lost. Later, in the ruins of light, Tomil sat in silence. Rowan and his team had left, angry and confused. They didn't understand why nothing worked anymore. Tomil knew. The sanctuary had trusted them. But trust must be protected with respect. And now, the city had gone to sleep. He took out Mira's crystal. One last time, he played the song. A single flower bloomed near the platform. Maybe. All was not lost. Mira sat alone in a white room inside the government science center. The walls were smooth and cold. There was no window, only a door with a camera above it. She had been here for 3 days. Every day, someone came to ask her questions. "Where did you learn that melody? Do you know the effect it has on machines? Can you play it again?" But her answers were always the same. "It's just an old song my grandmother taught me. I don't know how it works. I will not play it for your machines again." The people did not understand her. To them, Mira was not important. She was not trained, not educated. How could a simple woman hold such power? They didn't know that Mira's grandmother had once said, "Music is not just sound, it is memory. And memory is the key." In another part of the center, scientists and officers stood around a large screen. The screen showed the image of a strange object, a glowing ring floating in deep space. It looked old, but alive. Energy moved around its edges like threads of light. This was the object Mira had unknowingly activated. They named it the Harmonic Gate. "This structure is not human," said Dr. Selen, the chief scientist. "Its design is older than our history on Virelin. We believe it was built by a lost alien race, the Velari." General Rowan crossed his arms. "What does it do?" Dr. Selen shook his head. "We don't know, but it responds only to emotional frequencies, and Myra's music triggered it." "Can we use AI to copy the music?" the general asked. "We've tried. The machines can copy the notes, but not the feeling. It seems the gate only responds to human emotion, real emotion. Then we need her to play again." Back in her room, Mira was visited by a young man. It was Tomil, the scientist who had brought her tea before. He sat across from her and spoke gently. "Mira, I believe you. I know you're not doing this for power. But the people above me, they want to control the gate." Mira looked at him. "You want me to help them?" "No," Tamil said. "I want to help you. But I need to understand more. Why does your music work when others fail?" Mira took a deep breath. "My grandmother came from old Earth. She said our people were caretakers of songs, songs that held history, emotion, and peace. She told me to never play for pride, only for truth." Tamil listened carefully. "She once said," Mira continued, "there are places in the stars that only music can reach. I didn't understand it then. I do now." Tamil leaned forward. "Mira, they will soon force you to play. You have to choose how." Mira nodded. "Then I'll play the truth." That evening, Mira was brought to a large chamber called the Resonance Hall. The harmonic gate's full image hovered in the air, spinning slowly. Dozens of people watched. Scientists, officers, leaders. All eyes were on her. She stood in the center. Her violin was handed to her with care. The air felt heavy. Mira closed her eyes. She thought of her grandmother, of flowers in the old garden, of quiet mornings and forgotten songs. Then she began to play. The sound that came out was not like before. This time it was deeper, richer. Her fingers moved slowly, carefully, drawing every note like a brush on water. Each note was a memory. Each pause, a whisper. The music told a story of sadness, of hope, of peace long lost. Above her, the image of the harmonic gate reacted. The light inside it changed. The energy moved faster. A pulse spread across the room, soft but strong. The lights dimmed, and a low hum filled the air. Suddenly, the gate showed something new, a path. A star map appeared in the air, bright points of light connected by glowing lines. It showed a route through space, leading to a place unknown. The scientists gasped. She unlocked coordinates. Dr. Sullen shouted. The general stepped forward. "Where does it lead?" The computer answered, "To Valari Sanctuary." The music stopped. Mira lowered the violin. Her face was calm. "What did you do?" The general asked. "I showed the way," Mira said. "But you must walk it with care." The officers began talking loudly. Some wanted to send ships. Others wanted to secure the gate. Mira turned away. Tamil ran after her. "You opened something big. Do you know what you just did?" Mira nodded. "I sang to the stars. And they answered." Far away, beyond known space, a signal reached a hidden place. Inside a chamber made of crystal and light, an old machine turned on. It showed the image of Mira playing her violin. A soft voice spoke from the machine in a language long forgotten. "A human heart has awakened the song. The path is open." Back on Varellon, Mira returned to her room. She looked at the stars through her window. She didn't know what the leaders would do next. She didn't know if they would use the path for good or for greed, but she knew one thing. The music inside her was not finished, and the stars were still listening. Mira had not slept for 2 nights. Ever since the harmonic gate closed, she felt something heavy in her heart, like a broken string inside her. She could no longer feel the soft hum of the sanctuary or the warmth of its music. The path had gone. Dark, she sat in her quiet room, her violin resting beside her. The same melody that once opened a gate to the stars now felt silent in her hands. A soft knock came at the door. It was Tamil's voice. "They sent me back. I need your help." Tamil stood in front of her with tired eyes and a heavy heart. He told her everything: the second ship, General Rowan's actions, the cold silence of the sanctuary, and how the city had shut down. "I tried," he said. "I played the crystal again, but only one flower bloomed. Everything else stayed dark." Mira listened carefully. "The city trusted you," she said softly, "but it was wounded, and it will not open again to fear." Can you fix it? He asked. Myra looked down. Only if I play the truth again. One last time. The leaders did not want Mira to return. We don't need her, said one minister. The mission failed, yes, but we can build our own path. Now, others disagreed. We can't reach the sanctuary without her, said Dr. Selen. The harmonic gate listens only to her sound. If she doesn't play, the path stays closed. After hours of debate, permission was given. Mira would return to the sanctuary. But only with Tomil, no guards. No weapons. Just her. And her music. The journey through the harmonic gate was not the same as before. The light was weaker. The glowing path flickered at times. It felt like the gate was unsure, hesitating. But Myra sat calmly, holding her violin. Close. I will not play to force, she whispered. I will play to heal. When they reached the end of the path, the sanctuary floated in silence. No colors, no light. Like a sleeping city lost in a dream. Mira stepped out of the ship. The ground was cold. The air. Still, Tomil followed her quietly. They walked back to the main platform, where the glowing instruments once floated. Now they were motionless like stone. Mira stood in the center. She did not wait for machines. She did not ask for permission. She closed her eyes and played. The first note was fragile. It trembled like a leaf in the wind. But slowly, the sound grew warmer. Mira's fingers moved gently, drawing life from silence. Her bow danced across the strings, not with power, but with care. Each note was like a soft apology, like someone saying, I'm sorry for the pain. She played the old melody again, but this time, with sorrow. Then hope. Then love. Tomo watched as a soft light returned to the stones beneath Mira's feet. The air shifted. A single glowing thread rose from the ground, then another. Soon, platform was filled with light, like stars waking up, and above them, the image of the Valari elder returned. But now, its face was smiling. You came not to take, it said, but to give. Your music carries truth. It carries memory. It carries peace. The gate will open once more. Across the galaxy, the harmonic path lit up again. The stars welcomed the song. The sanctuary began to glow fully, brighter than ever before. Flowers bloomed on crystal trees. Walls shimmered with colors. But Mira didn't stop playing. She kept going, because there was one more part of the melody she had never played before. The part her grandmother told her to save for the moment when healing was needed most. A secret verse. She played it now, and the sanctuary listened. New chamber opened behind the main hall. Inside was a memory vault, one that had never been unlocked before. It held knowledge, stories, histories, and blueprints for things far beyond human science. But it also held something more important. A gift. In the center of the room was a small orb of pure energy, soft, pulsing, alive. The voice returned. This is the heart of harmony. It will not follow command. It will only follow music. Let it sing again, and you will understand us. Tomil picked up the orb. It floated in his hands. Light as a feather. He looked at Mira. What do we do with it? He asked. She smiled. We don't use it. We share it. The path back to Violin was filled with light now. The harmonic gate was wide open. The world waited for news. When Mira and Tomil returned, people gathered in the skies and streets. Mira stepped out quietly. No speech. No pride. Just peace. Tomil held the orb in his hands. It glowed softly. And Mira, standing beside him, lifted her violin. One last time. She played. The people listened. And somewhere in the stars, the Valari listened, too.